up, guys? Otterpup here. Another Alpha Beta's reaction coming here. So I didn't realize that there was going to be more than one exclusive scene that was going to be revealed to us. So first there was the exclusive scene from Wildcat, then there was one from Marcel, and then there was one from Brian, and then that's...
Struggle is real.
Apparently so. Which is going to culminate in the release of the actual pilot this coming Saturday. But I decided to wait until the other two exclusive scenes were out, until we actually reacted to them, because might as well.
Makes it easier.
Oh yeah.
If we would have known that there would have been 3, we would have done all 3 together.
Oh yeah, we probably would have just done all 3 at once. I think I initially speculated too that Evan would have an exclusive scene as well, but it also kind of made sense for him just to release the pilot and just have 3 exclusive scenes, but whatever. Let's do this!
The fort we're assaulting is heavily fortified. We need to load up.
Okay, Eddie. Give me something I can protect myself with. No. I mean something I can protect myself with from a distance.
Huh?
So if I kill someone in self-defense, I don't actually feel their death personally.
Oh, I get it.
Okay, no, Eddie. I mean if I have to protect myself from multiple people.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, pow, 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 pow. Eddie, come on.
What?
Fine. I want a gun that has nothing to do with protecting myself and everything to do with my own insecurity. Also, I want to exploit an egregious loophole in the Second Amendment. Happy?
Just wanted to hear you say it.
Oh, come on! Mason got a Gatling gun?
Yup.
Hey, Buck, I think you forgot something.
These go over the pants.
Wow.
What?
I was wondering if there was a reason they were only showing his top half.
Yep.
I suspected correctly.
Oh boy, that was...
That was good.
That
was good.
That big ol' spiel from Mason, though. That was great.
That was great.
I loved that.
Oh, Mason got a Gatling gun?
Oh, Buck sounded so jealous.
Wouldn't you be?
Maybe a little bit.
Duh.
Alright, let's go to the second one.
Number 2.
Alright, Buck, you just need to follow the drug dealer to his source without him knowing.
Ooh, follow mission.
No chance Buck has the attention span for a follow mission.
$50, he just kills the guy.
Guys, please. I'm a professional. Alright, here we go. This guy is so
I like the music.
You gotta be kidding me. Follow missions, right? I hate them.
Relax, Buck. You're almost there.
I am relaxed.
Gotta be honest, he doesn't look relaxed.
I'm super relaxed. Huh? Damn it!
Oh man, here it comes.
Game error.
He's about to go full Irish.
How can we simulate an entire city, but one guy walking in a straight, predetermined line is impossible?
I gotta be honest. I knew he'd kill him, but that was grisly.
Ugh. Why is he picking up his head?
Oh.
What is he doing?
I know where he's going. I'm just gonna take him there myself.
This is...
Just gonna take him there myself!
He sounded so upset! He really let out his Irish.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so... I had already predicted that Buck was easily tempered, and that Mason might have some, insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
I no shit have already predicted that.
I think you've told me before.
Well, I figured a little bit about Tommy's character, but, that was because, Tommy, Wildcat, but now we get to see a little bit more of, Mason and Buck's characters on their respective channels, which made me be able to see it a lot better, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But...
Yeah. Those were really funny.
Those were really
Oh
funny.
my gosh. Again, not normally the kind of stuff I like, but since it's these four, I can't not watch it.
That's the only reason that she could probably tolerate this is because
It's these four particular
these four
heathens.
particular hooligans.
Heathens.
Heathens. Yes, these
Heathens.
particular heathens. Okay. Oh, I'm excited. You gonna go eat? I'm gonna analyze.
Yeah,
and then
she gets to analyze now.
Peace. See ya.
See you later, suckers!
Let's do what we do best and analyze this. Okay, so obviously this is taking place in a game, like, you know, a Western Red Dead Redemption style type game or something like that. I love the music immediately, but I also notice how when they go into this general store, there's no cashier. So this sort of video game world might not be fully simulated. Kind of like was a sort of topic that was a little bit mentioned in the next exclusive scene.
The fort we're assaulting is heavily fortified. We need to
Okay, so they're assaulting a heavily fortified fort.
load up.
Okay, Eddie, give me something I can protect myself with.
Okay, so that's an interesting aspect right there. that Eddie can manipulate the game's code like that. I'm guessing they all probably can in their own way. But that Eddie can manipulate the game code and just all of a sudden summon a weapon automatically. But the fact that he can do that, I'm wondering if maybe this game world is a sort of training simulation. That is possible it could be. Maybe that's why there's no cashier, why it seems like a ghost town and, you know, these four are the only characters. But it also interests me that, you know, Eddie was able to do it so naturally. I wonder if all four of them can do that, can manipulate the game's code like that, but maybe it comes most naturally to Eddie? I mean, I could be wrong. It could come naturally to all of them, or maybe it could come naturally to them in different ways. Like maybe Eddie is really good at, like, you know, naturally manipulating the code to summon weapons or something like that. Maybe the others can manipulate the game code in other ways that's a lot easier for them. Or they can all manipulate the game code pretty easily, or Eddie just happens to be a natural at it. Those are the three big possibilities that I see with this particular area of interest.
No. I mean like something I can protect myself with from a distance.
Huh?
So if I kill someone in self-defense, I don't actually feel their death personally.
So if I kill someone from a distance, I don't feel... Okay, so Mason already seems to know a little bit about the concepts of consequences or like actions and consequences at least. It does kind of reaffirm the fact that he's probably the smartest of the four characters. I do think he's the most intelligent of the four characters, which kind of makes sense because Marcel in real life, I consider to be one of the smartest members of the Vanoss crew. Like, I consider Evan to be one of the most clever. I don't really necessarily know what I consider necessarily some of them to be personality-wise in terms of like a specific gimmick necessarily, in terms of, you know, whether they're the most clever, the most intelligent or something like that. But I've always seen Vanoss as the most clever and probably one of the most quick-witted. But I always saw Marcel as probably one of, if not the most intelligent member of the Vanoss crew. Not saying that the rest of them are stupid, but he definitely has a bit more of an air of intelligence and knowledge and maybe even a little bit of wisdom compared to some of the others. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain.
Oh, I get it.
Okay, no, Eddie. I mean, like, if I have to protect myself from multiple people.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah!
As soon as I heard that, I wonder if Eddie was gonna, like, you know, maybe summon, like, you know, an assault rifle from not Western days, from, like, modern days or some nonsense like that. I was wrong, but I also considered a Gatling gun might have been the next best option.
Yeah, like pow, 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 pow!
Oh, that, that too.
Eddie, come on!
What?
This brief pause after Eddie speaks tells me that these four individuals at this point in time know each other well enough because Eddie is testing Mason. He's looking for a specific answer because he has a pretty good idea of what Mason is like. So, like, again, whether these guys have known each other for very long, like, before they ever got introduced to the CIA, I'm not entirely sure. They may have known of each other, they may not have known each other personally, or maybe they do. Maybe it is kind of like, real life, where they kind of ran in the same crew, but they also have their own specialties, so, I don't know. Kind of up in the air on that one. But this brief, momentary pause where Eddie waits for the correct answer from Mason tells me that these 4 characters do know each other to some extent. And Eddie is sort of asserting a little bit of dominance in this conversation. I still think he's probably the most, like, de facto leader type individual. I know I keep mentioning some of these terms and phrases and words and definitions over and over and over again, but because... What can I do? Like, repetition is how I remember stuff, okay? And I'm a writer. I'm good. Okay, not necessarily verbal. I'm better with the written word than I am the verbal one. So there's that. I do think that of these 4 characters, though, Eddie is probably the most dominant in a sense.
Fine. I want a gun that has nothing to do with protecting myself and everything to do with my own insecurity.
So that tells me a lot. The fact that he basically called out that he has his own insecurities, that Mason has his own insecurities, I am almost positive that I mentioned something or guessed something about him having insecurities in even in the sneak peeks. I think the trailer for sure, I probably mentioned something. But I am positive I have mentioned something about his potential insecurities in the past. And I may have been spot on with that. He just wants a big gun. He wants a big gun that can shoot a lot of people. Because he does... Because... Compensation, man. Compensation. Insecure. Like, come on. It's so obvious. And of course, yep, I remembered noticing that. That was the answer that Eddie was waiting for. Eddie is clearly the dominant one of the 4, but Mason is also smart enough to know that Eddie is not going to give him what he wants until he says what either he needs to say or what Eddie wants to hear. Either way.
Also, I want to exploit an egregious loophole in the Second Amendment.
I want to exploit an egregious loophole in the Second Amendment. This just reaffirms that I'm pretty sure he's the most intelligent of the 4. Seriously. He is. He absolutely is. Like, he uses such smart words. He uses logic, and his vocabulary and his phrasing just screams intelligence. It really does. I think I'm gonna like Mason. I'm gonna like all 4 of these characters for different reasons. So far, funny enough, I think I'm liking Eddie's character the least. I'm not saying that I don't like it, but I just like the other 3 so much more for such interesting reasons. Okay.
Happy.
Just wanted to hear you say it.
Oh, come on! Mason got a Gatling gun?
Were there changing rooms in, like, general stores and Western saloons or clothing shops or something like that? I honestly don't know for sure.
Mason got a Gatling gun?
Oh no, he was trying on the pants. Duh. I'm an idiot.
Buck, I think you forgot something.
Oh yeah, he was trying on the new pants that he didn't realize go over the. Even I know a little bit about some Western fashion and Western clothing. Like, I wonder if in the actual show they're gonna end up showing that if that's gonna be blacked out. Like, if it was anybody else, they'd probably just leave it as is. But this is these guys working alongside the producers of Rick and Morty. You never know what they're gonna allow.
These go over the pants.
Okay, also something interesting is that as soon as these 3 see Buck's business, he doesn't freak out in the slightest. He just kind of stands there. That absolutely reaffirms what I've said about him in the past, that he has a little bit of a cocky and an arrogant personality, similar to Eddie's, but a lot more blatantly obvious. And which in that particular personality trait is pretty much not the exact opposite, but kind of somewhat opposite to Mason. So watching the characters of Mason and Buck interact is actually going to be a little bit interesting. With Buck's cockiness and arrogance mixed with Mason's with his like cool-headedness and intelligence. Like legitimate intelligence, not whatever intelligence Buck thinks he freaking has. Let's move on to this one, shall we? Okay. CIA headquarters, yep.
Alright, Buck, you just need to follow the drug dealer to his source without him knowing.
Ooh, follow mission.
No chance Buck has the intentions fan for a follow mission.
Okay, so that actually brings up another personality trait that I hadn't considered for Buck's character. Short attention span. Which I suppose, given the other character traits I predicted for him, and character traits that I've seen, kind of makes sense that he would have a short attention span. Also, this face that he's making, is that the face he's actually making in the game? Because, I mean, I know, like, when I think it was a scientist lady who kicked Tommy in the groin, and he felt it in the game. That's probably the face he's actually making in the game world.
$50, he just kills the guy.
Okay, so Tommy may not have. I mean, this was kind of reaffirmed a little bit, I think, in the Wildcat exclusive scene that we were shown, or that we were presented with. I still think that Tommy's probably the most naive of the four characters. He may not be quite as naive and childish as I initially thought he might have been, because he was the one who immediately set the bet, like, $50 he can't do it. He clearly does not have a lot of faith in Buck. Like, I get the feeling that in some cases Tommy may sort of like be in awe of or idolize Buck, and probably some of the other characters in a sense, but at the same time he probably might know them well enough at the point of this scene, that, he still knows them reasonably well enough to know their faults, I guess you could say. So he's not a complete naive moron, at least.
Guys, please. I'm a professional. All right, here we go.
He calls himself a professional, and it is already clear in his tone and dialogue that he is very much not. He thinks he's so good at this. He's so cocky and arrogant.
This guy is so slow.
I'm willing to bet if Eddie were in the same situation, he'd approach it just fine. I think if any of the other three characters approach this situation, they might be either they might be fine, or okay. Buck is getting way too worked up about this. This is...
You gotta be kidding me. Follow missions, right? I hate them.
They clearly don't have a lot of faith in him.
Relax, Buck. You're almost there.
I am relaxed.
Gotta be honest, he doesn't look relaxed.
I'm super relaxed. Huh?
Again, Buck is probably the most short-tempered of the four, and this exclusive scene absolutely reaffirms that idea. Clearly a GTA-based world, based on the map.
Oh man, here it comes.
Based on that map, yeah.
He's about to go full Irish.
Okay, so yeah, Tommy said he's about to go full Irish, and Eddie's like, Tommy's like, he's about to do it. Eddie's, what? He's about to go full Irish. So these characters might know each other well enough, but they may not necessarily, or I could be just reading too much into it. It's probably just for comedic effect. It was like, he's about to do it. What's he about to do? He's about to go blah, 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 whatever. Makes me wonder how long these four characters have known each other. I still got the general idea. Actually, no, I'll save that for after this. After
Can we simulate an entire city, but one guy walking in a straight, predetermined line is impossible?
He went full Irish, and it kind of shocked them.
I gotta be honest. I knew he'd kill him, but that was grisly.
Ugh. Why is he picking up his head?
Oh.
What is he doing?
This is actually hilarious. Like, Eddie, Buck just kind of picked up that head. Tommy and Eddie both look uncomfortable, and Mason looks horrified. I expected Tommy to be the one to look horrified, but instead he and Eddie they just look severely uncomfortable. Like, granted, game world or not, I don't know if I do that necessarily, but these guys are just gamers. They're practically picking up real flesh in the game world.
I know where he's going. I'm just gonna take him there myself.
Okay. Okay. So I got two really big questions that I've kind of gathered. One big question from each exclusive scene anyways. The first is something I kind of mentioned in the first exclusive scene, the general store, with Eddie being able to manipulate the game's code to summon those weapons. I didn't even think about it until now, but Mason was the one who asked Eddie, you know, to give him something, to give him a weapon. Like, you know, the knife, the revolver, the Gatling gun, like, whatever. But Mason asked Eddie. Either that was just like, you know, the general idea of how you do things, since Eddie was behind the counter at the general store, wanted to play it like a sort of real simulation, or it could go hand in hand with what I was talking about earlier with game code manipulation, where it might come naturally to Eddie to be able to manipulate the game's code like that, to summon weapons like that, or maybe they have their own strengths in terms of game code manipulation. At this point, based on that scene, it could be one of those two options. Or I suppose maybe it could also have something to do with maybe only one of them can manipulate the game's code at one time. That would make a whole lot of sense, so I'm not really looking at that as a potential theory, but it may come naturally to Eddie, which could explain why he might be a lot more dominant in the way of the four characters. But the idea of game code manipulation, how they're able to do it, and if they're able to do it, is a really interesting idea that I'm going to be keeping in my mind. The second big question I have from the second exclusive scene, Follow Mission, the second biggest question being, how well do these characters know each other? And there's a lot more to it than just a simple question. Like, did these four I'm talking about before they got recruited by the CIA, did they know each other or did they know of each other? Those are the only two possibilities. They could have played games together personally or something like that, because that's entirely possible. But they also, from a story sense, might not have any, like, they might never have had, like, you know, interactions with one another, but they know who everybody else is. These four characters have clearly been around each other enough to get a good idea of some of their personalities. Like, again, in the general store, between Eddie and Mason, like, the conversation that the two of them were having was really interesting, and gave me a sense that Eddie knows Mason fairly well, and Mason probably knows Eddie to some extent. In this particular exclusive scene, I get the feeling that Tommy and Buck somehow know each other relatively well, but again, I have no idea if they only really know each other this well because of the CIA, or if they knew each other fairly well before all this started happening. That's what I really want to know. That's what I'm really curious about. How well they knew each other pre-CIA and post-CIA recruitment. But and then of course there's a whole game code manipulation question as well. Some of my ideas about less so about the relationships, some of my ideas about the personality traits of some of these characters have been either crossed off or they've been less, or like some of these personality traits have been less in the world. But some of them have been reaffirmed. I still think, so let's see if I can, before the actual pilot comes out, let's see if I can finalize my thoughts on what these characters are like. Eddie seems like the cool-headed, dominant de facto leader type individual who will and does have the ability to take charge when he needs to. Buck seems to be short-tempered, but he seems to be familiar enough with the other characters' personalities. He likes to mess with them, but he also doesn't like being messed with, so it's a little bit of a conundrum. But he's a little bit cocky and arrogant, but he seems like the kind of character who might have, like, street smarts. Like, those kinds of smarts, at least. Mason seems like the book smart type character, with maybe a little bit of insecurity, but plenty of knowledge and maybe a little bit of cleverness. I'd probably attribute the cleverness a little bit more to Eddie, but I definitely attribute some knowledge and intelligence and level-headedness, with a mix of insecurity as well, to Mason's character. Tommy's character seems a little least confident, but he has his moments, and he still seems a little bit innocent and naive compared to the other four, but he seems like the kind of fun guy that you'd want to hang around and have a good time with, or play a fun game with. He seems like the most easygoing of the characters, at least. He might have his moments, but... So yeah. Buck's the most short-tempered, Tommy's the most easygoing, Mason is the most intelligent, and Eddie's probably the most dominant. Not in a super aggressive way, though. Probably a much more level-headed way. Okay. And I've still got some questions about the world building of this entire world. There's still so much I don't know, so much I want to know, but that's really all I can talk about before the pilot. You can bet your ass that my sister and I will be reacting to that Saturday. I have no idea when that's coming out Saturday. My sister also has to work until afternoon, maybe evening on Saturday, so we might not be able to get it until Saturday evening or night. But you can bet your arse that we will be reacting to this. And I will be taking in so many details. I probably won't be doing as hardcore of an analysis that I normally do, because obviously those episodes are probably going to be way longer, but I'm super excited. I am super excited. This is exciting. And my sister is absolutely right when she said it multiple times already. The only reason she would watch something like this is because of who the main cast is. This might be kind of something I might watch, maybe, if the main cast wasn't these four particular gaming YouTubers. I might not have watched it. I might have been on the fence, honestly. But because it's these four gaming YouTubers, and I'm so invested in answering the questions, in examining the characters and the relationships, looking at the world building. That's what I do as a writer. And I haven't gone so hardcore in such a long time. This is really interesting. Alright. I'm gonna end it there. I'm hoping this wasn't as long as some of the previous ones. It might have been. Not too bad. I can cut out a little bit of it. But it was also reacting to and analyzing 2 exclusive scenes. So there is that. So I'm gonna end it there. Next time you're gonna be seeing me watch this, it's gonna be the pilot. Let's do this. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Most of you probably did not even watch this until the end. It's okay. It's an analysis. I don't expect most people to watch it all the way through. But as usual, until the next video, guys, laters.